Well, willing to step down. President Trump taking reporter questions for the first time since the election. He said he is prepared to honor the Electoral College if it votes for Joe Biden, but that it won't be easy to leave his post.
If the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden, will you concede?
Certainly I will, and you know that. But I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January, a lot of things. Massive fraud has been found. It's going to be a very hard thing to concede.
Well, the Biden administration could endanger oil industry powerhouses. In particular, look at the state of Louisiana. Remember, Biden is aiming for net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. I want to bring in Louisiana Congressman and House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning.
Cheryl, great to see you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
I did. You know, I'm a girl from Texas. I've been to Louisiana up and down most of my life. And I got to tell you, the oil and gas industry in your state is so dependent on what happens with, I think, the global story, in particular with China. How nervous are you about, let's first talk about John Kerry and this climate czar position, and then how President-elect Biden would handle the Chinese?
Well, you know, when you look at what President Trump's done to bring the energy industry back, we're literally not only a dominant energy producer so that we can create our own energy, we're now sending oil and natural gas to our friends all around the world. It's helped us geopolitically. It's helped our friends reduce their dependence on Russian energy. The Saudi oil that they used to be so dependent on, it's weakened OPEC. So why anybody would want to go away from that boggles the mind, you know, as you know, from Texas, Louisiana, but so many other states are part of the energy business now. Look at Pennsylvania, you know, and this was a key topic during the debate where Joe Biden went back and forth on the issue of banning fracking. Who knows where he's going to fall on it, but the fact that he would want to bring someone like John Kerry, who had one of the most failed foreign policies. I mean, John Kerry went and helped get the deal to give Iran a nuclear weapon, undermine our biggest ally in the region, Israel, and as well as so many other countries there. So I hope we don't go back to those kind of policies. As you can see, the president's still pursuing his legal challenges and got a win just over the last few days in Pennsylvania, where the court said they can't certify the election there. So, you know, still game to be played there. But I think it's telling when you look at some of the people that Joe Biden would surround himself with, including John Kerry as a global warming czar. Look, the Paris Accord has been a failure. No country in Europe is even in compliance with it, and they exempt China. China would take so many countries' manufacturing jobs. We don't want that to happen to America. We're bringing manufacturing back. We need to strengthen our economy and focus on helping hardworking families become part of the middle class, not give China the gains that we've made over the Trump first term that we've had.
Right, and again, having the United States become more and more energy dependent on itself, which has been amazing, obviously, for jobs in the economy, not just for Texas and Louisiana, but also for the Dakotas region as well, and the issue of fracking, which at this point the president-elect says he won't ban. We shall see. But I want to pick up on something you mentioned about who Joe Biden's going to surround himself with, and in particular, Antony Blinken, who has been chosen as the new Secretary of State. This goes back to China, because if you don't have the Chinese or India in particular adhering to any type of energy standards or climate change standards whatsoever, it's like a zero-sum game for the U.S. We can't win. If you're talking about global climate change, you can't have China continue to pollute the skies, even if we do try to not do so under a Biden administration.
Right, Cheryl. And this is why it was such a smart move for President Trump to get out of the Paris Accord in the first place. Because think about this. We were losing manufacturing under the Obama and Biden years. Those 8 years, we saw our middle class evaporate. We saw manufacturing leave America in droves. Great companies were leaving America, and stuff was still getting made. It wasn't like we weren't making steel. They just weren't making steel in Pennsylvania. They were making it in countries like China and India, where they don't have the kind of standards that we already have. A lot of these people that these globalist, global warming alarmists that love beating up on America, they fail to recognize that we actually have really good standards that are unrivaled anywhere in the world. And so when you exempt China, for example, from these kind of standards, the steel will still get made. It'll just get made in a country where they emit 4 or 5 times more carbon than if we make it here in America. So if you're concerned about carbon emissions, getting into the Paris Accord will actually lead to an increase in global carbon emissions, because those things that are made in America in a smart way, in an environmentally safe way, will instead be made in other places where they emit more carbon.
Exactly.
And we lose the jobs.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I want to bring in James Freeman from the Wall Street Journal. He also has been following, obviously, the impact on the oil and gas industry. James?
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. Congressman, I'm thinking even before there is any new Biden regulation or Biden law, some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress have been pretty successful pressuring big banks not to fund fossil fuel projects. This has been a big issue in Alaska, and I'm wondering if this is an issue in the Gulf region as well, where oil and gas producers have trouble getting financing from the largest banks.
James, we've seen that, and it's been a problem all across the United States the last few years, where the folks that just, and by the way, when they say that they're against fossil fuels, you watch them, they fly around on jets and they drive cars. You know, even you cannot plug your Prius into something. You don't plug it into a tree. You've got to get energy from somewhere. A lot of times it's natural gas, coal, nuclear power. They want to get rid of all of that. And yet, you know, they're going to try to wreck your lifestyle. But there's a lot of hypocrisy built into that. But in the meantime, you know, you look at what energy has done to save lives and improve our way of life. We're able to get low-cost energy in America. It not only helps us manufacture, which has rebuilt our middle class. You know, all these people, the hardworking families in all these states that you've talked about, they're making good income. Their wages were rising before COVID, and we're going to get back to those days. But if you were to get rid of the energy industry in America, you know, and think that just wind and solar panels are going to make up the difference, you wouldn't even be able to get 20% of your household electricity grid with that kind of energy. So why would you want to wreck America's economy? Again, that stuff's going to get made. It's just going to get made in countries like Brazil, China, India, where they emit more carbon. Yeah,
and again, it goes back to being a job story. Before I let it go really quick, Congressman, I do want to ask you about Georgia. Senator Carrie Loeffler says that she is the firewall, that she and David Perdue are the firewall here. Your thoughts on the runoff in Georgia, because this will affect how you do business in Washington.
Right. I think, look, everybody that looks at all of these planned shifts to the left, the socialists that are fighting in the House to say that they're going to go back to open borders. I mean, even, you know, Joe Biden's talking about stopping the building of the wall and literally just letting anybody into this country, regardless of what a legal process is, ought to recognize that the only way to stop any of this is in this United States Senate right now. And those two seats are everything. It's all on the line. I know I've already hosted events. We've raised over $200,000, and I hope everybody stays engaged in those races. I hope the people of Georgia vote for both Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler. Everything's on the line.
It certainly is. Congressman Steve Scalise, it's great to have you here. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Great being back with you, and hope you all had a great Thanksgiving as well.
All right. We'll see you very soon, sir.